here. So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again on Coffee with Closers. As we lean into the final part of the year here, we're kicking off a new series as we discussed last week. And this is simply a who you gonna see type of series. We're going to talk about getting in front of more and more prospects. So anyway, with that, Ed, I'm going to hand it over to you to kick today's program off.
Thanks, Ira, and welcome everyone. We appreciate your taking the time to join our broadcast. Yes, as Ira mentioned, this is a who you're going to see, and really what we're talking about is how to build a sustainable flow of prospects that you can present to. Today we're going to have Charles Durfee, our near and dear, present a little bit and some of his techniques about how he and his team up there have built a very sustainable business, as evidenced by the flow that they've had over the last 15 plus years. Charles, how are you doing this morning out there in Boise?
I'm doing good, Ed. I'm doing good.
I think I see a Broncos shirt on, so I know that means they're coming off a couple of wins.
At least one. That's a win this year.
All good stuff. Well, let me turn this over to you. I know you've got some prepared remarks along the way. If anybody has any questions, please type them into the chat box down there. I'll kind of moderate as we go through. And then obviously you can, after we get done, unmute yourself if you'd like to add some comment to it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Charles.
All right, Ed. Well, it's great. I look forward to these next four series with Coffee with Closers. This series, like you said, Ed, is all about building a sustainable business. And this really came up as we were discussing, where we're going at FFP and how we close out the year strong, and also, launch next year even stronger with our agents, agencies, etc. And this kind of led to this series, and that is, our really successful agencies all have what we call a sustainable process. And, they've got either a market or there's something they're doing it's not only causing them to, be successful, but to actually grow and gain momentum. And that's really what this series is about, is how we can help you grow your business. And more importantly, really gain momentum, which will help you also grow personally. So if we go to the first slide here, I want to really talk about 5 ideas. The theme here is really about referrals. And because referrals, if you're going to build a sustainable business, especially in life insurance, getting referrals is going to be something that you really should be working on or enhancing. And it's kind of funny because we all know that we were all recruited, or we got into this business and we were all taught at one point or another the power of a referral. But I think as we get into our daily routine and our grind, it's not something, and I myself included, that sometimes we polish up enough. So I wanted to help get your mind prepared to kind of increase your referrals that'll help you build a sustainable practice. So the 5 ideas I want to share with you and how to do that today is, first of all, we're going to talk about, you have to have a marketing plan. You've got to understand the costs of growing your business. You've got to 3, if you're going to go into, as we talk about referrals, we need to be specific and share with our clients or whoever's referring to us, or just a prospect, a reason that they need to see us or they should refer to us. Then 4th, we've got to get good at evoking yeses, or being able to pivot into an appointment and a potentially a sell and a new client. And last but not least, something I think gets overlooked a lot is that we don't reward and recognize our clients through helping us grow our practice. And we'll talk about that. And so let's break down this first one. First, have a marketing plan. So, I usually, when I'm talking to an agent, and I think we take for granted, a life insurance agent, I think we forget that we're really just, the greatest opportunity, what we do in this business is we're building our own business. Sometimes I think we lose sight of that. And when I'm talking to some of my agents, I know I had this discussion with Luis a while back. I was talking to him about, Luis, if you were going to start a business, and let's just say it's a pizza franchise or something like that with Papa John's, you can pay them a lot of money up front, and you can buy their floor layout and their frontage, their store frontage. You can get everything that comes with all that money that comes with the franchise, and you can start your business right downtown in Portales, New Mexico. And I want you to think of, that's where Luis is at, and Portales, New Mexico is a very, it's a smaller community. It's a little remote. It's out there and nowhere, but it's got a main street, and there's very successful businesses there and for successful people. But if you put that Papa John's in place, I don't care how much money you spend on that franchise and all those franchising fees, the day you open up and you've got that franchise in place and you open your first day of business, you got to grow customers. To move your product, you got to go out there and grow your customers. So, this picture represents a person that's starting a business, just like you've started your life insurance business. You've got to grow your customers. And if you were sometimes I think we got to think like a different business. So, and let's just use the pizza franchise. If I was going to start a pizza franchise in Eagle, Idaho, where I live, I'm going to go out there immediately, and day one, I'm going to have I paid a franchise fee to get their flyers. I'm going to be talking to athletic directors in high schools, trying to get my name into that community, do whatever, about pizza for kids, whatever. I want to get a name and a brand built in my community. And this picture here represents something. They've got a sandwich board out there. This person's holding an open sign. If you're really interested in building a highly successful business, you've got to market yourself. You've got to think like a business, and you've got to act like a business. And I think in life insurance, especially in this COVID environment, it's been really easy for a lot of us to slip into our slippers and our dens and kind of fake like we're in business, make a few calls, we go to our routine, but what's amazing in our business is we got people making six-figure incomes with very little expenses. And the reality is they're bringing in 3 or 4 clients, if that, a week. I don't know any other business, and I don't mean to be rude when I say that, but I don't know many other business owners out there, especially those that have paid $100,000 for a franchise or something, that can even understand that. The return on our investment is amazing. So if you're going to think like a business, you got to act like a business. Our number one role, if you're going to build a sustainable business, a life insurance practice, is I've got to acquire clients. That's really it. At the end of the day, our job is to acquire clients. And the top agencies, the way you acquire clients is you become known for 1 or 2 areas of expertise. Get focused. So I can tell you, if we look at FFP's top agencies, they're doing 1 or 2 companies. They're not doing 600 companies. They're not they're doing 1 or 2 concepts or companies typically, and they've mastered that process around doing that well. So as you're building your have a marketing plan next year, the end of this year, really you need to be writing down, what are the 1 or 2 markets that I enjoy working in? And whether that's, I like working with home mortgage, people that have bought new homes or just refinanced, or I like the final expense business, helping people just have a final expense, whatever that is, focus in on 1 or 2 markets. That way you can get very good at your marketing and you understand what clients you're trying to draw into your business. Third, the next bullet is measure results. Highly successful agencies track themselves daily and weekly. Because there's only 50 working weeks. Hopefully you take 2 weeks off in a year, and they go by so quickly. And if you let pretty soon 13 weeks or your first quarter's gone and you don't even know what's happened. So if you measure daily and document weekly, you can't have a bad year. It's kind of like the old saying, if you start off and you have a good appointment on Monday, the rest of your week's downhill. If you don't have any appointments set for Monday, it's going to be a long week. So start early, have a plan, and measure results. And then last, have balance. I think this is a tough business. It's a business of no's. We get a lot of rejection. We get a lot of people that, you know, have ideas about what we do, I think, and they're preconditioned to say no. But, if you're not, if your goals aren't, if your business goals aren't aligning with your personal goals for your family or your children, then you really ought to consider your goal making. When I do my financial goals each year, my business goals, I look at how that tailors up to where I want to be with my children or my family, which to me is most important. I became an empty nester this year, so I wanted some extra time to do some things with my wife when we became, empty nesters. So we've taken a couple trips and did a couple things that, I planned for. So make sure that your business goals also align with your personal goals, or you can get out of balance. The harmonics of the flywheel on your car just get out of balance, and that's not good. So first of all, I'm challenging all of you as you look into the remainder of this year and next year. What are the one or two markets that you want to get really good at? Get with FFP, because we've got the products and the companies that will align with those markets, and then let us know how we can more specifically help you drive that marketing plan. But you got to think like a business. It's your role to get client acquisition. Number two, the next slide is, after you've got your marketing plan, you got to understand the value of referrals. I think in this day and age, there's so much marketing out there. We're all looking at Facebook ads, YouTube channels, all of this stuff. We all go to these meetings and we hear how the really successful people are, what they're doing. And if you're just starting out, it can be overwhelming. But the biggest mistake I think most life insurance make is they don't think like another business owner. If you go to that Papa John's franchise, and I know a couple of them, you ask them what they spend on, how much time and energy they spend on client acquisition every month. From getting flyers out into high schools to getting just their name in their community, to get people dialing that phone to order pizzas every night of the week, and also, just bringing in that new client that they need. So when you start to add, and then I go to the average life insurance agent and I say, what do you spend on marketing each month? And they don't even know. I mean, and I'm not cutting you down. It's just one of those things that, when you can make it sometimes on 3 or 4 sales a week or 1 or 2 sales a week, I don't think we really put the value into it. So what I challenge you to do is start thinking about the cost of a lead. What does it cost to grow a successful, sustainable business? Well, what does an average business spend on marketing? Let's just go to a lead cost. I want to bring in our business. These numbers are just rough numbers. And if you want to have 8 solid appointments a week, and right now you're just starting out, you're trying to acquire new business, you decided, hey, I want to get into final expense, let's say, the average lead's going to probably be somewhere about $40. Now, I'm not here to argue if it's 50 or 30, then just change the math. It's not about that. But if you really wanted to have 8 kept appointments, I think I'm being very generous. I'm just saying 8 $40 leads are $320. The reality is you probably should be spending about $600 to 3 times that to get 8 appointments, because you're not going to set them all. So really, I could say you should be spending $1,000 a week. Man, I tell an insurance agent sometimes you need to be spending, $30,000-$40,000 a year in your marketing. They'll look at me like I'm crazy. You go to any other business in downtown Portales, New Mexico, they probably understand that acquisition cost, right? So we need to once again start thinking like a business owner. So then the reason I bring this up, so even the 8 leads, I can set 100% of them at $40 a leads. I've got a $16,000 annual cost for leads. Wow. To me, that's a year of education at a Idaho college, not other places, but in Idaho, it's a year education, right? So I'm thinking, wow, do I want to spend $16,000 on leads? Or how do I replace that $16,000 cost with something better and pocket the money. And that's where, let's go into the next slide. That's why referrals become so important. To me, I've always looked at it. I can continue to write checks all day long. And there are certain markets that will require you to continually put that marketing dollars into leads. I understand that. But there's also ways that if you're going to build a sustainable business and grow, meaning grow beyond that one or two markets. And I don't mean say get out of those two markets. Let me be very clear. There's a difference what I'm saying. To expand and let those 1 to 2 markets lead me to more
Asian hot.
and different types of products. So that gets down to what referrals will allow you to do. Referrals not only will start to save you the money, they're such a valuable, but every referral is worth at least $40. But they're also, and as I'm going to demonstrate, show you how to start getting momentum to increase your case size and your, what I'd call Main Street presence. So first of all, when I'm getting a referral with my client, now we're sitting down, we've made a close, and at the end of the close, I thank them very much for their business. And then I share with them my practice and how I grow my practice. And I ask them, I tell them, listen, this is typically the markets or the 2 markets I focus in on. And you can go beyond that while you're starting out. But as an example here, I'm saying I deal with people that either financed a home or refinanced, or maybe you work with the senior market, those that are nearing retirement, or you work in final expense. You got to clarify why they should refer to you. The reason people are going to refer to you is because you can offer their friends and their personal acquaintances that are important to those people. You can offer them something of value versus just an appointment. You don't need an appointment. You want to get referred because you can help their friends or their clients. So I'll say, if you know anybody that's either financed or refinanced a home, I really would love you the opportunity to be introduced to them. And let me tell you why. And when, and then I'll just simply ask them a question. I'll say, Ed, do you know anybody that's either just recently purchased or refinanced in this low interest rate environment, their mortgage?
And Charles, maybe I know somebody that's looking right now.
Okay, then that's even better.
Does that help you?
Yeah. And what's their name, just real quick?
John Zanitas.
That's all I need, John Zanitas. Okay, or just John and Mary, doesn't matter. Because the reason I ask, Ed, is because what I do if they're looking to buy their a home, I've got a strategy that not only can ensure that that home is protected through life insurance, but also what I'm really known for is coming up with a strategy to typically pay their home off, reduce at least 10 to 12 off their mortgage period, and set aside money if they decide later on they don't want to pay it off, that they've got set aside for either other things that are important, children's education, those types of things. There's some tax advantages and strategies that they're going to have through the products that I offer that they need to be aware of. And this is a really, really important time to be discussing that. And
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. See, they're selling their $1.8 million house and they're just going to live in their $400,000 condo down in Florida. I'll have to think of somebody else.
Okay, well, I'd need to see that person too. But my point is right here is I write it down. I'm writing it down for them. I write it on a scratch pad or you can have it. I write the name down that Ed tell me, and I write down what he just told me. And then I say, and I write below it on my piece of paper what I can offer. I'd like to help them with the strategy of eliminating $1,000 in interest or whatever, pay that home off early or whatever it might be. If I'm in final expense, I might write down, I look for people that are looking for some type of final expense plan. And here's why they need to see me. Ed, you need to tell them that they need to see me because if they try to buy any final expense plan on television, there's only one product, the guaranteed issue. Everybody on television is guaranteed issue. What separates me from every other thing they're seeing as they're getting onto their television every day is there's 3 better levels or 3 better products above that can only be gotten through somebody like myself. I can show them which plan will benefit them the most. So I wrote their name down. I've got 3 better final expense options. Write it down. And the reason I write it down is when I get done and I get all of my referrals, their names they gave me have the basic information, and I highlight or put an asterisk why I need to see them. I get my phone out, I do a scan to a PDF, and I leave my piece of paper with Ed. The notes I just wrote down, I scanned into my phone. I don't need the paper. I leave with them. Then I said, I want you to hang this on your fridge or put it in front of you. And if you could, over the next 2 or 3 days, send them a text. Send them a text and let them know that I'm going to probably be sending them a text, or I'd like you to, I want to give you a period of time that you can either call them, send them a text, and that's where you can also clarify the best way that those people like to communicate. Do they prefer text or a call, or what's the best way to communicate? And so then you can document that and tell your client, I'm really busy, but I will be reaching out, or my assistant will be reaching out next week. Was that enough time for you to let them know I'll be reaching out? And when you reach out to them, they're going to ask you why. And that is, you've got the notes. He's got 3 options you might be interested in, or those types of things. So you're giving them a reason why I'm coming out to see him versus just to go get a referral. So what we're really looking is not to get 20 names. If you need 8 appointments every week to be sustainable, then your goal this year should be get to a point where you're getting enough referrals to generate, if it 16 referrals, if you can set 50% of them, you need to be getting 16 referrals a week. Or you can just write checks and buy more leads. It's okay with me. I'm just saying leads are free, and they're way better because they're a friend of a client. So go for quality, not quantity. I don't need everybody. I want specifically those you feel I could help at. I don't need you to just give me your friends' names. And you know what's really interesting? By getting referrals, agents that don't get referrals, see, to me, getting a referral is free advertising. See, I just sat down with Ed and maybe did a mortgage plan. But notice when I asked for referrals, I told Ed about other things I do. See, I refer outside of the market I just sold. Like I help people that are nearing retirement talk about, how to move their qualified money. And we've done a series about that, all their qualified money to a more tax favorable situation. I need to see those people nearing retirement. And see, what ends up happening is Ed goes, I didn't know you did that too. Heck, I thought you're just helping me. No, I do. See, so additional leads are free advertising for you. Your client now starts to look at you as, wow, Charles is more than just a life insurance agent. Charles is a source of information. I'm working my way to a trusted advisor. Next slide. So be specific and don't worry about how many. Go for quality. Last, number 4, look for ways to evoke a yes. See, when you're asking for referrals, I gave a Coffee with Closers a while back. It was called the Blueberry Muffin Story or something. And really, it's about being the barista. I typically get a Starbucks every morning. And as I go through the drive-through every day, what I'm amazed at Starbucks is that person on a drive-through at the other end, I get the same coffee every day, and they know my name. Hi, Charles, how you doing? And when I go through there, I order the same old venti pike with light cream. Nothing fancy, right? And that barista every day tries to finagle me into buying something else. Like, are you sure, Charles? Our blueberry muffins are piping hot today. and they look really, really good. I shouldn't, I better not, so no. Or the next day I come back, they know I haven't bought the blueberry muffin. So the next day I come back, they tease me with one of those croissants with almonds on it, or chocolate filled eclair, something else, right? Or a sandwich, right? So what I really love about that person, that barista, is they're not worried about me saying no. I've never said no. I mean, I've never said yes to something other than a venti pike with light cream. But every day, without question, they're like that dog that just keeps coming back to you with a happy face, right? They just keep asking me a different way to try to evoke a yes. Well, one morning is a Saturday, my wife says, I want a pumpkin spice latte and a blueberry muffin. And I'd forgot about it. I got my routine. I'm not paying attention. I go through the drive-through and the barista says, Charles, today we got those blueberry muffins or whatever and all that. I go, oh my gosh, I just entered. Yes, today, yes. I'm saying yes today. I want the blueberry muffin and the pumpkin spice latte. Thank you so much for asking me. And like the picture in front of you, all these different selections and options that you've got, just ask, be creative. See, be creative in the way you ask, and ask often, ask regularly. Your clients love you. I tell people all the time, your client didn't buy the product in front of you. At the end of the day, it's not about product, it's about you. You're building your business. So be creative in how you ask regularly, ask all the times, and look for different ways to evoke a yes for a referral. So remember, asking for referrals is not about eliminating no's. And this isn't just asking for a referral with the client. I'm asking when you meet somebody on an elevator, or you meet somebody at work, or you meet somebody on a plane, be prepared to share with the one or two markets you're in, and look for a way to evoke a yes or why you two should network. So always be looking for a way to be creative and invoke it. I never settle in on the same referral. I'm always asking a different way. So is there a perfect script that we're going to roll out for this? No, you are the business owner. You've got to be that person carrying that sandwich board around, walking through town saying, come see me because of this, can ask a different way. And last but not least, we're going to wrap this thing up in number 5 is then once you've got a referral, especially, and it's, whether you make a sell or not, but especially if you make a sell, be professional and high touch with your clients. Your clients that refer to you are gold. Some of my smallest premium clients have made me more money because they're networkers. My mother-in-law knows everyone, and she's uninsurable, but she brags about her son-in-law like I'm always getting a referral from her, from church or her little network of ladies that she plays cards with. I'm just telling you, she's a high touch person, not because it's just my mother-in-law, but it's an example of your clients. Some of them, your best referrers aren't necessarily your biggest clients. So, but you got to treat them high touch. So that means we're going to talk about building a sustainable model. We're going to touch on other ways over the next 3 weeks of building a sustainable process, because you need some technology and tools, whether that's a contact management system, a system that just reaches out and sends them. It's just the little things, birthdays, financial ideas, a newsletter, just you taking the time to text them or forwarding a little, just an idea, an idea. You know, I appreciate Ira on here because every once in a while, Ira just sends me a little idea. And, you know, it made me think I have a lot of respect for Ira and all my business partners, but when Ira sends that, because it's Ira, I read it, right? Because it's somebody in my network that I respect. And so your clients will do the same when you do it also. And do client networking events. I had, you know, look for ways to network. I keep using the term network. I heard a guy tell me once, this is a great idea, I've never implemented, I stole this, but he was going through his client base every year. He does something different. And he has one of his local clients that's a fly fisherman. I mean, he ties flies for fly fishermen. And he runs little classes for kids on how to tie flies. And so he goes, yeah, I got this client. He's always looking for kids. So he put an event he went through his list of agents because he had a his clients, because he had a contact management system. And he went down and he found about 20 of his agents that had an interest in fly fishing that had children. So he asked them to come to connect them to this fly tie. They could go tie flies with their kids. And then he had another guy that taught them all how to cast a fly rod if you've never done that. So we had about 10 to 20 clients show up for that and their kids. So he's helping one of his clients build his fly tying business. He's networking, tying together. They had a blast. What do you think the business referrals that came out of that are? So it's so easy. And how do the clients feel about you as the connector? You're a networker. You see, getting referrals is connecting people. In this day and age, that's why people are on social. That's what social media is. Be a networker. We don't got to get referrals in the old traditional way and call them on that 200-pound phone. Text them. Have you thought about that? Have you thought now if you ask for a referral, you can have your client text them, and then if you got a little call reluctance or you hate picking up that 200-pound phone, then why not try getting some referrals, set it up with your client. You're going to text them and ask to set an appointment. So, in doing this, in rewarding and referring your clients, you need to be using technology and looking for some type of technology. And that's why we're here at FFP. We've got a lot of technology and tools for you. Last, two more things. Handwritten notes are powerful. You get a referral, you write a note. You write a card, a note, a text. Thank you so much. I've grown my business through people like you. That's what I tell my clients. I've never went out and had to do a buy dinner for people to get them into buy an annuity. I've always relied on my clients for help. They want to help me grow my business, and that's how I tell them. I'm here because of you, and that's why I appreciate you. And then last but not least, provide a follow-up. Ed, I just reached out to your client you just referred me that sold their home. I was down in Florida, and guess what? He's becoming a client of mine. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that referral. So I'd like to do this. Here's a $25 Starbucks card or whatever. Go be your own barista, right? And you and Ann go out and have a cup of coffee on me or whatever. So you need to, if you get a referral, always provide an update to your client. It's just rude. If they give you a name and you don't follow them up and tell you a status when you followed up, the result of that call, it just puts closure in them at peace of mind that you represented them professionally. So you're representing them at this point. See, a referral is transferring their relationship that they build up over years to you. That's the way I view it. It's an opportunity for them to assume the role of 30 years or 40 years of friendship. And I better take it seriously. And I need to provide an update and where I'm at in that process. So with that, I think there's another slide. So in closing here, I'll wrap it up. This is all about momentum. Now think about it, guys. If every one of you each by the end of this year got to a point where you're making 4 to 5 sales a week that are averaging in 2 to 3 referrals, is that not a good way of getting that momentum or that wheel spinning or momentum that's not only going to help you feel more confident in the 1 or 2 markets you're focused in on, but referrals and signing into these coffee with closers calls and learning about additional sales ideas and concepts will also add another layer or another circle to your product expertise. And that'll give you another reason to go back and another reason to ask for another referral from that client. So you can build momentum and have a not only strong finish to 2021, but also a record 2022. So referrals is not something that require money, but they require your effort. You got to become the barista. And if you're in the insurance business, you need to see yourself as that store in Portales, New Mexico, that you just opened up, sandwich board on you. Your job as a business owner is to acquire customers. And I can't think of any better way in a community to acquire customers than through referrals. So with that, I just want to wrap up this first session. Thank you all very much. And remember, be the barista, all of you.
I love it. Charles did a great job there, and particularly a couple of things. And frankly, I learned one today. I love the idea of writing that referred person's name and number down and giving it back to the client. Boy, is that a powerful, powerful way to get reinforcement there. And then all the follow through, obviously, and a little reward system makes an awful lot of sense. So thank you for sharing that. A couple of you out there, we've got a couple of questions, not sure what their markets are. So, Charles talked about it might be the final expense market, it might be mortgage. The thing that I would suggest that you do is take a look at your in-force, your existing client base, and see what the common denominators are. You may find that that many of them, or there's a core in a certain industry, and there's a way to build your market around that industry. I mean, I knew a very successful agent that, frankly, he worked around tire shops, and what he did is he learned the business of running a tire shop so well that he was able to relate the financial products, and he got referred to the other tire shop owners that get together at conventions and sales meetings or have the same franchises, et cetera. So it could be a product line, it could be a industry, anything along that line can help you. It could be a club that you've got half a dozen clients in, and then take that whole referral approach and build it out from there. We've got a couple of exciting things coming up, but to let you all know, next Thursday, we're going to take the Thursday off with Coffee with Closers, really to celebrate Veterans Day. Thursday's Veterans Day next week, the 11th, and it's a good time to kind of reflect. And again, you may want to look at your client base and give a shout out or call just to thank folks for their service if they've been in there. The following week, we're going to continue the series of Who You Gonna See, and we're going to be talking about developing centers of influence that will attract prospects and bring them to you. We have some unique tools at FFP that can help you with that, and we'll go over those tools and show you how to access them too. And then we'll follow up later in the series. We're going to be talking about networking with other professionals, CPAs and P&C and mortgage agents. And then we've got a super little system that will help you stay in touch with your market and with your folks that we'll go over the week after that. So we've got a busy schedule planned for you here between now and the end of the year. We really want to thank you for taking your time. Charles, thank you for a super presentation today. That was really, really well done. And I'm sure you spurred some folks on that those are very actionable steps that you laid out for them. So nice job there. With that, we're going to say good selling, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. And we'll see you in 2 weeks with the next Coffee with Closers program. Thanks all.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Great job, Charles.
Thank you.